Say, can I ask you a personal question? How many kids do you have? Or plan to have? Now imagine them all grown up, happy and at their full potential, all you ever dreamed for them. Tell me, what do you see? Are they happy, healthy, or are they overweight? Even obese? That's not part of anyone's dreams for their kids, right? We all want our kids to be healthy. Nobody wants to see our kids unhealthy or saddened because they're struggling with health problems. And yet there's a brand new study that was published last week, New England Journal of Medicine, that 57% of your kids and mine will be. Welcome to the Run With My Son show. My name is Gideon Dave Newell, and we are a group of dads who are determined not to let the headwinds of life push us off that path to a lifelong heart-to-heart relationship with our sons. And we do that through something we call Runversations, which are deliberate conversations aimed at bonding close to one another while we're out and about engaging in physical activity, enjoying the outdoors. So, let me jump in here, start things off with a little question, and that's not talking about the future or obesity, years down the road from now. Let's talk about right now. Let's have a little contest, okay? So without cheating, if you can, don't look it up, what percentage of today's kids do you think are already obese? So go ahead and write that in the comments. Whatever the number is that you think the percentage of today's kids who are already obese, and we'll see who can get the closest there at the end of the program. So a child's BMI is defined a little bit differently than adults. For children, it is if your BMI is higher than 95%, so 95 out of 100 of their peers, children of the same age and sex, if their BMI is higher than 95% of their peers, they're considered overweight. And for adults, it's a much simpler formula if your BMI is 30 and up. So that's just to give you a little bit of definitions. So take that, what percentage, and I'll put the question here on screen for you. Knowing now the definitions of what obesity are, what percentage of today's kids do you think are already obese? And we're going to get into what the expectation is for tomorrow's kids, but we'll save the answer for this one to the end. All right, so obese by age 35. Come on, really? And in fact, that is what this brand new study. It's from. It's published in New England Journal of Medicine, but it was written in the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health Center and Health Decision Science in Boston. And most importantly, we're going to digest this report and talk about what it means for us, what we can do as dads, as parents, to combat this, to prevent this, to stop this from these statistics invading our families and our households, dads. All right, so the author of the study, I should say up the top, also his name is Zachary Ward, and he's the lead author. And it actually gets even worse than that number, 57%, because if you take the children who are right now already obese, and there are plenty of them who are obese. We're predicting what we think that number is, but of the ones who are right now already obese, 75% of those 2-year-olds sampled who are obese are expected to still be so by the age of 35. So the real trouble here is that once a child reaches, achieves obesity, the struggle is breaking free of that. 75% of the kids who are obese are expected to remain there, which is how they arrive at 57% of all of today's kids. We're still, there's a degree of obesity called severe obesity. I apologize, I should have looked up what the definition is to get you to the severe label. But the kids who are severely obese right now, it's expected that 80% of them will remain so. So that's pretty scary stuff. Now, I know a question that might pop into some heads is, well, what's the big danger of being obese, a little overweight? Daddy's got a little dad bod here. He can handle it, so can the kids. Well, actually, that's not true. There's harm, at all stages and ages. And my wife, Dr. Rebecca Newell, who is a pediatrician and has an intense interest in this topic, obesity and childhood obesity. She's a pediatrician, and so she sees this a lot in her practice. She was writing in a presentation, and I learned there that for adults age 40, being obese can result in a 6 to 7 year reduction in your life expectancy. Just because you're obese. You're doing everything else right, but you're a bit overweight, and that's your only risk factor. 6 to 7 years you're going to lose for that, dads. And if you smoke as well, you can double that. You can expect to have a 14 years reduced off of your life expectancy for being obese and a smoker. That's the harm for adults. And you know what? That danger, that harm doesn't wait for you to grow up. Even the kids right now who are obese are suffering. So I saw in another study here where they took 40 children and their control group of 20 normally BMI categorized children and 20 obese children. They looked at them and they did MRI scans of their bodies. And they found that the ones who were obese had an average of 27% more muscle mass in that left ventricle of the heart, and a 12% thicker heart muscle overall. Now maybe that sounds, to me at first glance that sounded good. Well, isn't it good to have a strong muscle? No, actually those are considered indicators of heart impairment. So that's not good. Having an enlarged heart or anything outside of the normal expected range is not good, and that's being seen in children who are obese. All right, so the reason why you're here, it's bad, that it's coming around the corner. What you want to know, and I appreciate this, is what can I do to prevent it, right? Because obesity is difficult to reverse at any age. And I wear my little crown here today. It's just a reminder of one of the everyday influencers in our lives, as parents trying to get by, trying to take care of everybody. It's sometimes easy to pick up a fast food meal rather than to prepare a healthy one at home. But little decisions like that, dads, are where we need to step in there and help prevent this. So parents, we can't rely solely on the school's nutrition programs or their after school activities and recreation and gym. That's not enough anymore. Perhaps it never was, but certainly today it isn't. And you can check out, we have an earlier episode on, it compares gym class in the 1950s to gym class today. And if you haven't seen that, that'll make your jaw drop about what the standard has become. But just to summarize, you can't rely on the schools to do it, dads. We got to get in there. So concerned parents, we can make efforts to prepare and provide healthier food choices at home. And I could do a whole episode on that. I will do a whole episode on that. But let me give you one starter that's real simple, although it is difficult. No sugary drinks. This is the number one, the lowest hanging fruit and the biggest enemy to our kids these days, I feel, is the sugary drinks, the sodas by far. Any of those flavored sugary drinks, even the juices, they come in a nice happy colored packaging that convinces adults that it's a healthy drink. It's not. It's fruit, sure, but they've put all kinds of sugar into that and water to mask it, and they've put their own fancy marketing labels on there. It is still sugar water. So if you have to serve some apple juice, what we do in our household, again, I have to credit Dr. Rebecca Newell for this. We cut that apple juice 50-50 with water. And throughout the day, try to encourage your kids to drink water. So I try to stick to, and this is a policy that's on my shoulders as dad and the one that juggles the kids when they come home from school. I try to push them towards water, but I try to limit them to 1 glass of their favorite chocolate milk or apple juice a day. And then throughout the rest of the day, what they're drinking is primarily water. And you know what, dads? That is a great starting point. Just losing the sugary drinks alone is going to give you a huge payoff. Something else that we can be working on is to plan regularly scheduled meal times. If dinner is always at 5:30, and we do a good job of sticking to that, lunchtime is at this hour, breakfast is at this hour, our bodies subconsciously, begin to, synchronize around those meal times. And the unnecessary, snacking and the constant craving and reaching around looking for this snack and that snack will be, reduced. I'm not going to say it's going to go away, but yeah. So regularly plan your your meal times. The next point is to limit screen time. And this is another one. We've done not just one, we've done 2 videos. If you want to go back and look at episodes 7 and 8, I put them together in a playlist on YouTube, which I'll link here. But limit screen time. Try to replace those sedentary activities, that leisure time that normally would be spent playing a tablet, playing a video game, watching YouTube videos, playing around on their little Nintendo Game Boy. Move screen time to physical activity time. So on this show, we talk about a lot. We talk about getting out there and being physical. But this is a problem that you're not going to solve with physical exercise and activity alone. It really, is primarily going to lean on that diet. And so that's why I led with those ones. But let me put up for you here, take the question of the day down. For those who are looking for a place to start, I can tell you about this too. This is the wrong graphic, but we have a Facebook group for dads who run. So if you're feeling alone in this effort and trying to get out there and run together with your son, you're not. We've got a whole community here of other dads who do it, and we share our struggles and victories together, and put trainings together. And it's a great free group that anybody can join on Facebook. You can just type group here in the comments and you'll get the link, or there it is written on the left. So check that one out. But in fact, what I wanted to show was this. We've got a free training plan so that if you don't already have a regimen, a routine that you do with your son where you go out and you do something, it need not be running. Maybe you guys go fishing. Maybe you guys play basketball together on Saturdays in the driveway. Any kind of one-on-one time outdoors, being fit is great. But a great starting place, an easy one to start with is running, because you don't need any equipment. And we've got a free couch to 5K training plan that's designed for kids that will teach them, help you train up from no matter what fitness level you're at right now. Even if you can't even, go, a minute and a half without having to stop for a walk break. This training plan takes that into account. And in 9 weeks, you follow this plan, you'll be able to race together in a 5K road race. And how awesome is that going to be when you and he, cross the finish line at your local 5K race? That's going to be awesome. So you can learn about that. You can type training plan here in the comments. You can grab it on our website, but it's free, and it's a easy starting point that anybody can jump on. All right, let me get back here into the content then. So those are some of the things that we can do diet-wise, but there's other things that we can do exercise and fitness-wise. You can encourage their participation in sports, after-school activities and such. I've got another episode 17, where there's some parent do's and don'ts with kids' sports, because there's some things that you'll want to learn there. But encouraging them to do that. And as I said earlier, encourage that participation in leisure time to be active sorts of leisure time, is not, sedentary kind of things. I guess I'm a little bit redundant on that point. All right, but more important than any of them, you need to set the example, dads, and lead the way. Show what a healthy, active lifestyle looks like. Show a healthy relationship with food, that you make healthy choices so that your children are drawn to the same sorts of decisions and choices, and that they have regular meal times as well, because they're not going to be under your roof forever. And once they're loose, what sort of patterns are they going to follow and fall into? If you want them to maintain, healthy patterns, you need to start setting them today. All right, so let's go back. Our little contest here. I'll throw it back on screen. Why not? Our question of the day: what percentage of today's kids are already obese? And we got a couple of answers here. Peter thinks it's 1/3, so 33%. Okay, that's a guess. Andrew Johnson bumped his guess up a little higher. He thinks 38% of today's kids are overweight. In fact, today the CDC, Centers for Disease Control down in Atlanta, they say that roughly 20% of American children, so ages 6 to 19, are overweight. So it falls below both of those guesses, but it nonetheless is a pretty alarming number. 20% of today's kids. You look around, I wouldn't have guessed that just from, what I see, but that's because we're a poor judge of what actually overweight and obese are. It's a clinical clinically defined figure. It's not a subjectively, oh, that kid's a big one, or that kid looks just fine. The number, is close to, and my wife actually, she says that the number actually is around 17%. And it's been stable there for a few years. Maybe that's a little better than 20, but still, dads, that is 17% too many. And in adults, it's out of control. It's 65% of American adults who are currently already obese. So that is scary. That number, by the way, represents a tripling since the 1970s. So that means actually for adults, that's triple what it was in the 70s. For kids, obesity, childhood obesity, is actually 10 times what it was in the 1970s. So if it's, whether we take 17 or 20%, 10 times, we were closer to 2% back in the 70s. So this is really, especially for our kids, gotten out of control over just a short few decades. So with that in mind, dads, let's take some action. And if you're worried that you're the only one, you aren't. By all means, jump into that Facebook group, Dads Who Run, and we'll handhold together. We'll encourage one another. Your band of brothers are looking to do the same stuff. But no matter what, schedule some one-on-one time with your son so that you can, and make it routine. Make it sacrosanct in your schedule so that nothing else pushes it away. And be it a trip to, the bowling alley to have a few, lanes, or a few games of bowling, or a trip to the arcade, or you go for a run, or you go fishing, or you find some activity, something to do. That one-on-one time is how you're going to deepen your relationship. No siblings, no, other parent, just you and he, and make it routine so that it's associated with good memories, and it's something that's solidly something he can come to rely on and expect. And by all means, lead your father-son team to victory this week, dads. Starts with those frequent Runversations you're going to have together. All right. Well, thanks for joining. You can come and watch the show next Friday, every Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We go live on Facebook, and you can find us subsequent, not long after that, posting the replay on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. But thanks for joining us, and we look forward to hearing your victory stories, dads, as you go out there and you combat this childhood obesity epidemic together. Hey, I hope you got some terrific value from that video. If you did, I invite you to hit the subscribe button to get notifications of all of our new videos. You're also welcome to watch one of our popular back episodes, and you can always visit our website, runwithmyson.com, for a free Couch to 5K training plan that you can run together with your son.